good morning and welcome everyone back to Chenrezig Institute. We start with the prayers from the small booklet, Lama Tsongkhapa Guru Yoga. From the heart of the Savior of 100 deities of Tushita, on a peak of cloud resembling a clam of extremely white fresh curd, King of Dharma, omniscient Losandrapa, please come here together with your sons. In the sky before me on a lion throne, lotus and moon, my perfect pure Guru smiles with delight. Supreme field of merit for my mind of faith, please abide for 100 yawns to spread the teachings. Your holy mind has the intelligence that understands the full extent of objects to be known. Your holy speech with its excellent explanations is an ear ornament for those of good fortune. Your holy body is radiantly beautiful with glory renowned. To you who are meaningful to see, hear, and remember, I prostrate. Pleasing drinking water, various flowers, fragrant incenses, lice, scented waters, and so forth. Oceans of cloud-like offerings, both actually arranged and mentally emanated, I offer to you the supreme field of merit. Whatever non-virtue of body, speech, and mind, especially those opposite to the three vows that I have collected from beginningless time, I confess each and every one with fervent regret from my heart. You strove for much learning and practice in this degenerate age, and made your freedoms and richnesses meaningful. By abandoning the 8 worldly concerns, Savior, we sincerely rejoice in your extensive deeds. Perfect, pure, holy Gurus, from the billowing clouds of wisdom and compassion in the sky of Dharmakaya, please let fall a rain of profound and extensive Dharma upon the receptacle of those to be subdued exactly as they need. May whatever virtue I have collected benefit the teachings and all transmigratory beings, and in particular may it cause the essence of perfect pure Losandrapa's teachings to shine forever. Sajibaki Chushing Medok Tramarira Nidegempadi Sangeshindu Mikte Ulwa Idrokunamdak Shinlachupashu. By the merits of having offered this mandala to Lama Tsongkhapa and his 2 sons, may I, my family members, and all sentient beings be able to meet, practice, and actualize the teachings of the victorious one Losandrapa, who had a morality of eminently pure way of life, was courageous in the extensive conduct of the sons of the victorious ones, and accomplished the yoga of 2 stages of supreme bliss and emptiness. Idam Guru Ratna Mandalakam Niryatayami. By the force of having fervently requested in this way, hollow beams of white light are emitted from the hearts of the perfect pure Father and Sons, and combining into one enter my crown. White nectar, the color of milk, flows from the opening of tube of white light, cleansing all my sicknesses, spirit harms, negative karmas, obscurations, and their imprints without exception. My body becomes as pure and clear as crystal. Now we recite 5-line Miksema 3 times together. Migme tsewe te chen chen re zik, drime gempe wampo jampel yang, dupo malu jonze sawe dak, ganchen kepe tsungen tsong kapa, lo san drape shabla solwade. Mikmet sewe te chen chen resik, drime gempe wampo jampel yang, dupo malu jonze sawedak, kanchen gepe tsungen tsongkapa, losan drape shabla solwade. Mikmet sewe te chen chen resi, drime gempe wampo jampel yang, dupo malu jonze sawedak, kanchen gepe tsungen tsongkapa, losan drape shabla solwade. I pray for the swift return of Lama Zopa Rinpoche by His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Peerless teacher and assembly of the children of the victorious ones, Shravakas and Pratyeka Buddhas, victorious Losang father and sons, along with the lineage masters, all the objects of refuge of infinite lands, please bestow the virtue and goodness of accomplishing this prayer here and now. Holding and spreading the Muni's precious and complete teachings. Through explanation and practice, you wore the armor of patience that is never discouraged. Incomparable Venerable Guru, to you I make request. While striving single-pointedly for the sake of the victorious one's teachings, the sole gateway through which all benefit and happiness emerge, and for mother living beings, you suddenly departed to peace. What a great loss! Nevertheless, through the undeceiving truth of the blessings of the ocean of the three jewels and the great waves of bodhicitta of the children of the victorious ones, may the smile of a reincarnation swiftly beam in a glory for fortunate disciples.
Two weeks ago, no teaching, I forgot this. Sangi chedan chojin chonum la chanchu pardu dane kyabsun che dagi chushi ge bonda dag drolan peje sangi drubar sho Sangi chedan chojin chonum la chanchu pardu dane kyabsun dagi chushi ge bonda dag drolan peje sangi drubar sho Sangi chedan chojin chonum la chanchu pardu dane kyabsun dāki chūshī jī bānta dāki rōlāmbi sāngjīn rū bārā shū kāngi tūzi nī sōni tāwa tamchī bāmbi shī tāmbi chūn tūnzi kodam tēlā chāngzi lō shīshīn kiongkōn chāvi lō tūnti kēsān nāvi jīnjī līshī sū chāvi pīchī lāmi tsēvi tōndu chēmbi tōndēn lā chāngzi nāmu lā yī kētān lō tō nō chī kī tribōn tātā mī yī kēnā rō kuñjī rānū chī zāmba tamchī kētū dāki chū tēn tō Good morning, everyone. Happy Chandra Tuchin, Buddha's Day, right?
Yes.
Shokatele.
Shokatele. Majiri.
Kazi, Dunda Chicks Children, but Children is Queensland, Long Sui Youngers, Longzulena tani Shingna Gilare, Lok Tache, Lokche, Chuche, Nimo Mambul, Lomeva, Chumajin, Degorselarani, Pedra Isra,
Yes.
Mandajila Nervil and Pe, Kibu chansons.
Yes. So for the past 1 week or so, Geshe had to evacuate it from Queensland due to the cyclone and had a very relaxing time in Melbourne.
In the Drinchdan, so the Pyokanjin Jongre, and it Yagapabi, that chick dances some good subi, and it chick Rogelubagi, and it dances Chimbukala yet, and it and it had in children Munum Chemo, and it Tanima Kichishu di Chagdosra, Trirendo.
No. So today is the 15th day according to the lunar calendar, which is considered as a very auspicious occasion for the followers of Buddhism in general and Tibetan Buddhism in particular, where we observe the great prayer festival.
Children Munum Chemo, Hadim Munum Chemos, Munum Chemo, that Zuni, Tandapatuta, Lot Trugja, Chudux Drogdosra, Lot Trugja, Lot Trugja Chudux Droyores, Tom Teni Children Munum Chemo, Teni Utsungedi, Jangalam Tsunga Chimbe, Any Pe Kanjin Jong, Hadim Munum Chemo, Pegita, Any Hasi, any Tsula Kanaya. Sultan Sultani the Tanda part of the chick Hademano Chimo sled be any yons tadeba and chimbu hajang chimbu jachimbo chenab chimbo or dindich nan the Terilo together should court right dindich than those.
Yes. So now it's been more than 616 years since the Great Prayer Festival has started. So Lama Tsongkhapa initially found or started this Great Prayer Festival or Melam Shemo, and since then it is considered a very important religious festival, and it is still observing and after 616 years.
Tenida di jelaya Yavarmuji Jagat Sadolaya Pep any Tindi Gita Cardinal Ten Tandichalaya Taji Arire Canada re any Europe la Sobige any Chi Lomba Mambu Jilaya any Hadden Chundrumalum Chemo Tsuyores Canada does in a Bay Yabo Lo Tabalaya Chik Jona Gandin Triba Dermajon Chik Shajang Chujanam Nikairo and Dindi Dende Shichin Bay and Malon Chemo Tawan Demba and it's one Tanigi that Chik Lombatigi and Mamangi and Sonum Soyagi that do cabaret change journey and to the Rodan Roshim Barendo Asra.
And then later His Holiness had to flee to India, and after that the Melam Shambhu prayer was again started here in exile. And since then, not only in India, also in many Western countries, they started to organize Great Prayer Festival, including in America and in Canada. For instance, in Canada, they really organized the Great Prayer Festival in a very kind of um, grand way by inviting one of the most influential figures of Gelugpa tradition, and this is not only a kind of prayer festival, but also a very good opportunity for the devotees to accumulate merit as well.
then the lo phamba do che do sra nganzo Australia na lo la ya jam ko lo tsung ko chim bi temba tsu ni the long up chung a chi do yo rasra and di rin la ya chi lama Geshe sam ji me jaba ta jawar mu chi tsu bi ta ani mambu shu chi pevyores lagdon da chi lama yishi da lama sobar mu chi ni ta chozo jenre chozo tsu bi ta chi chozo ka mambu shu chi ta tsu tu yores Tenanglo la yena yana lama Geshe ta manyo achik ra Geshe manyo achik shu yore ani chik chawa yore tsuma yore imba yana ya tanda pardu nganzu ta chik adem alon shemu dindi chik tsuk matu ya di nganzu ki saksam da an chik karsa ta chik nipa ki da samlo la sobe ki ta macho ni tsuk tuyo marwa 마음발라 양원의 직 간줄라야 직 니바여 바치다 안직 튕규 로름 라소베 직 다음이 두급질래 바이나 네버드 간주 쭈고서 와서라 나도는 the same thing that 로 마음부 드스 원의 직 오스트레일리아 나로라야 다들 만나면 뭐지 쭈투 삼비기 제와 페침부여스
um, However, in Australia, it has been more than 51 years since Tibetan Buddhism was initially introduced. And not only that, many great scholars and masters have also kind of visited this land, including His Holiness the Dalai Lama and Lama Yeshe and Lama Zopa Rinpoche also visited this country. And not only that, they also found many Dharma centers, including Chinese Institute. And many Geshes have visited in this country and have kind of been teaching here since many years. Unfortunately, we are not yet being able to organize a great prayer festival on Melam Chemo. So this is something kind of unfortunate for us, and I sincerely hope that in the future, if all the kind of conditions, all the conducive factors are kind of accomplished or met, I would really like to organize the Melam Chembo or the Great Prayer Festival. When the conditions are met, this will be a great opportunity for us to organize this as well.
가스나 두줄에 고바 캬버지 라다 디링아조 트레저르 다 고바 캬버지 여바디 시부 슈즈레스라 지단기 산기기 템바디 벽한지 종라야 다르니다 아니 로직동 가즈스트로거 십경압지 로거 압지 트루기 로거라 디린라야 다 제우당바 삼기 메케바 총여레스 임바이나 단 잠가라모 총가버 전부 난신지 아니 직 템바 닥터 메도 총원 나한통에다 딘디기 아니 젠리 쳔부 아니 캡통이지 다 마종하다 버레스 다 장부샤바나 디주 규진직디 아니 좀된 디기 비기다 지 미딕템버 툴로 서버다 아니 지 촌르 제니 대남리 아니 넘버 갤치니 아니 딘디기 총이 뒤텔이야 아니 조 아니 탑킬로 도지 첨버데미 템버까지 징그 쯔비 초지 잡아세드 제발에 딘디기 따지 아니 전부 뭐는 자침부지 아니 주벌 때니 장관로 중국어 신비 템버지에 총여레스
There is a great kind of significance for organizing the Great Prayer Festival. For instance, it has been more than 1,000 and probably 300 years since first Buddhism was introduced in Tibet. And since then, if you look at the kind of history, Lama Tsongkhapa has made a huge contribution in kind of disseminating the Buddha Dhamma. And the reason why his teaching becomes so kind of prominent has a lot to do with the Great Prayer Festival. As you all know, that the Great Prayer Festival is kind of observed to um, to remember Buddha's victory over the six heretic teachers, uh, and in order to remember that day, and in order to kind of venerate Buddha and many other bodhisattvas, Lama Tsongkhapa started the Great Prayer Festival, and due to the a kind of merit accumulated from this prayer festival, his teaching also become very prominent in Tibet. So there is definitely a connection between his flourishing of his dissemination of his teaching and organizing the great prayer festival.
Pena Jangwa Tsongkhapa Chimbuta Pe Uchola Ya Pevni Anichi Pe U Pigil Hasi Zula Kalaya and Temba Tumbi Ombu Kunin Chigores. Chikunin di Jaganepa Janal Dendeshi Janania Pel Dendeshi Javigi any go good chinlabjan Dendich and the pig piggy Hasizula Kalaya Shuhures Ra. The good Dendeshis so the piggy dodge dengi Choden Rumuchigi and the talk delaya Nalonia talk delaya any Javarum Jusunguda that did sendera or talk delaya Shuktumba Jores. Kushusak Shuktumbati. Or Dene Dendeshi Jacques. And it could be Lorgu Mawatsu Kajigi and the Shevachena. And the Sangi she Jubi Kaulia, Shanja Bigi, and Kuch or Dindisonga, Kanji Dindigita, Tembuku, Chelabchin, Sachimbuji Shure, Telaya, and it's Ringala Sobi, Game Puche, and Dini, and a Chundrumon Chemo, Tusu Nayores.
So when Lama Tsongkhapa traveled to central Tibet, and when he reached central Tibet, in the Chokan temple, there is a kind of a statue of Buddha. The main shrine, there is a statue of Buddha, which is considered as very sacred. Initially, that statue was brought to China from India, and then from China, it took brought to Tibet.
Yeah.
And not only that, that particular statue is believed to kind of built or created during Buddha's lifetime, and later enshrined in the shrine in Bodh Gaya, where still you can see an empty kind of seat in the upper kind of shrine. There is an empty seat, and the historians kind of claim that that particular statue was took from over there and later invited to China, then to Tibet. And then later, that statue was kind of put in the main shrine in Lhasa, central Tibet. And when Lama Tsongkhapa started the Great Prayer Festival, he kind of first offered ornaments to the statue and then started this Great Prayer Festival.
Jungle was almost the thing on the Kongi Jinjuginza and then Namter Duzo the Gunzin Chigoya Chi Karsota Ngar Nyamsalaya, Nyamsu Chigoya, Har Matar Salaya, and Sul de Goyadi Hajangi Kichimbura. Man's Australia Nala Rojalea had them which suit to Wena. The dinning one the Tanik Sanji them, but the Timamevadi and Getuya Ye the Karso Tachi Sosa Dojan the Masuna and Nechimbushi Tachagi or
So therefore, since we consider ourselves as devotees or the followers of Lama Tsongkhapa, it is very crucial for all of us to try to kind of continue his legacy, continue this tradition, and to try to kind of disseminate his teachings uh, and try to introduce the teachings where it's not flourished yet, and try to kind of revitalize where it's once flourished but yet declined. So therefore, if we could organize the Great Prayer Festival in Australia, then it will be a kind of great opportunity and service to Buddha Dharma.
Teta chidangi nga roina da mi chunjung ro asirwa chao chajang chi tendu gu ta chik shiyan la soba kaya mengi da chidangi mi chunjung jira ina samlo nanglo la ya an dizu chi gya chesa ni samlo tangwa ida da pe kechimbu inba chik sorgu yor, tonggu yor asirwa inza chik maungba la ya nganzu jenrisi chozo nanglo la ya chik 오늘 단내기 벽이 난dengi 따지 곰바 첸덴식 샹야다 아니 곰바디기 땡조 따 조르무지 꾸지 슈투야로 먼저 땜비고 단다 미드 시점바디 덴디슈사레스 넨델레 페리오레스 마홍바 아니지 줄라칸디 나라의 슈 델레야지 아니 정말로 중가바 침비고 남은 난신기지 아니 고yenla soba pyujeni 조르무지 꾸지 샹 안 딘들어야지 오늘지 하데모는 쳔뭐 체든 데마시 소투야기 미기 요리 제어요리 samlo di tanchini ta kanjin rogu yoresro rogu yes.
So although I myself am kind of a simple Buddhist monk, but I will always try to think beyond kind of think about how kind of best can we kind of disseminate the Buddha Dharma, and how can we do anything to kind of contribute for the dissemination of Buddha's teaching. And in this regard, if we could organize a great prayer festival here in Australia, it will be a great kind of opportunity. For instance, we have already invited the 4-meter kind of long statue of Buddha, and we are already planning to build a kind of a Tibetan style Gompa or monastery here. And once we could build the monastery and invited the statue in the main shrine, then if we could kind of offer the ornaments, and then if we could organize a great prayer festival here in the new temple, it will be a great service and a great opportunity. And I kind of sincerely hope this will happen, and all the conditions will ripe on time.
자 뒤나양 안지 아니 samlo도 친중지 소소다지 니마니마기 아니 최고 나서 제토와 sam기 로데나 디금도 왔으라 아주 북양 림부기 미유 차시샤 레가치는 로바나 아니 안주 미러 왔으라 안주 가리는 제토로 왔으라 안주 사마지 아니 루루친 도자지리친 로바나 가리는 제토로 왔으라 투구 말이 용구 말이 삼 대화나 다 투구 말레스 로 용구 말레스 그 삼로기 자와 삼로 삼루 제스 도고요 반사 용구 말어 와서 삼로 자침부 지어바나 텔레데미 자와치 자와자침부 자와침부 제투고요레스 로 상긴 등인지기 상긴 대용인 그 삼로 숙침부 용인디 아니 상기야기 탑을 숙치는 상기 투고요라서 근데 단딩 간주 샘레야 삼로 직담바이나 간주 규진 대차 세단 유물을 소바 디디지 자마치 소거를 슬라바이나 자와니니 용야 메교소라지 엔 통구도 하서라 임바이나에 디기 람라이 슈치니 아니 리버드름치 아니 또비케는 로바이나 니무 자마서 투고레스 산지살 로투고레스 홍기 제부담바츠 페프투슬랑 간주 지부지기야 간주에 디 리기요 반자 로투고레스 임바이나 삼로도 부스도고치 친주지마도 마다마이나 아니 내가 지금 누구요 말아서라 가시기 야침부 제고 슬라반 람사 셰종인 로지 짜종인 로지 카진 딘디차워 카진의 타도사고래 카지긴 뇌기워 딘디도 제대바나 안주 뒤남에다 내가 지투고 말았어 디마임바 아니 차지 공해지기 차지 그 아니 로버징이지 로버징 들어봐야나 당간주 가리는 제투고 그러서 최선디나 가리는 제투고 그러서
So therefore, it is really important for all of us to think broad, think in a kind of think in long term. We should be able to think beyond our daily kind of daily activities, and if we could think in a long term and then kind of act accordingly, we will achieve our dreams. For instance, the ability to achieve great things really depend first on our vision and our thinking. If you think we could achieve that, then we will accordingly engage in the activities and then and the means, and we will definitely could achieve it. For instance, if you wish to attain complete enlightenment, the first thing is you should kind of develop the aspiration to achieve that, and that aspiration will ensue action, and then ultimately we will be able to achieve the result. So similarly, for the time being, if we were to talk about eliminating the subtle afflictive emotions from our mind, it may seem impossible. But if you truly wish to eliminate the negative emotions from our mind, first the intention is important, and that intention will bring about the action, and then through action, finally we will be able to achieve the result. So similarly, whatever thing that we want to achieve, first the intention and the motivation is truly important, and that will ensue the action, and then we will be able to achieve the result. So therefore, it's really crucial for all of us to think broadly and think in the long term, and then if we could work collaboratively, those who will have kind of some of us might have good visions, and then that vision should be supported by the collaborators. And if we could unite it in kind of achieving that, we could achieve anything. So therefore, it's really crucial to work in unison, work collaboratively with support from all the members.
지단기 젠즈 용구열에서 근데 대링이 뒤된 뒤다오지 봐나 아니 천주 뒤진디 아니 탐킬로 투지치 뭐 덴비 템버가딘 진티 직 로드카와 제발 쳔비 아니 가서다지 냠네쇼 난체니 아니 공부조바 상기원디 공부조바 상기네 다지 도잘마 최대원디 아니 미참로그베 아니 이원 트라야치 고야치 쇼온디 아니 다 참로그 다지 비 템발이야 아니 가서 다지 년굴 샵도시야 아니 최선야 소바 안 디촐레스 두스 고온디 데니 미디 템버 툴라 소베 다지 아니 차도다 아니 젠섬기 마수디 데니 다 젠더 체바레스 로지치나 단 젠더 체도 아스라 젠더 친다 존트라 소비치 남칼에 프리알라 소바 사와라 젤라 소비다 틴디기다 존트 남반 하소고네 존트두 아니 젠더 치온디 아니 자원인다 젠마툰 타킬라 투지 쳔바 데미 템바 카덴진레 자원인은 젠 마투바친 아니 파원디 팜비 니모델 용스 팜친니 아니 직다 아니 넘버 간르지고는 템바이네 자원인은 젠마툰 팜비기 따지 야카다 마수나 용스 조바 토비 니모디 더 드링 소로 차고레스라 아니 더변 지는 변도 대비 세부정아 데리다와 냐감이 다 니모델이야 안디 차고레스
So generally, kind of whatever work we do, competition is bound to happen. For instance, if you try to understand the situation by today's event, the Great Prayer Festival, um, the historical background is also something to do with kind of a competition of miracles by Buddha and six heretic teachers. For instance, Buddha, he engaged in meditation and austerity practice for 6 years. And after that, he achieved complete enlightenment. And after his enlightenment, he started teaching to the general public, and then he received many kind of good response, or people started to kind of came towards Buddha to receive teachings, and that create a kind of a sense of competition or a kind of envy towards the six heretic teachers. They become very insecure and envious, and then they kind of demanded Buddha to engage in a competition of miracles. We'll see who is greater who will be able to perform miracles better. And then somehow they engage in this competition, and the Buddha defeated all six heretic teachers in performing miracles. And the final day of the defeat or the competition falls on this very day, the 15th full moon day of the lunar calendar. So therefore, competition is bound to happen.
Tadi energy 탐질리 넘버 잘 투야게 아니 로 넘버 사점문디 아니 탐질리 넘버 잘 투야게 가서 다지 차겐다 마스나 카리어레스 안 딘디기 차겐디 칸이 라바리 간르진 토바리세다 로 딘디시바이나 아니 다지 로르카와 쳔비 아니 지까지 두리 넘버디 rangi juji chakdang nyumu pang bichirdu. Rangi juji chakdang nyumu pang bichirdu. Digi nyimbu bashik tenchini, ani kaji duri namal teni, nyumu bali namba jawa inza. Nyumu bali namba jasibi jela, teni namba jal matu sagi, ani mintu chok kaya lagayo marizda. Chik jen lagayo marizda. Nanzu gyula nyumu mewaina, nyumu pangsa vijila su kangi tani rangla ya ani nyo tukuyo mari ani nje matuk saji kangi lagayo mari ista dodo diri ista rwa.
So when we talk about Buddha being kind of Buddha not being able to defeat it by the six heretic teachers, the reason why he achieved or he possessed such great qualities is that all his practices were kind of directed towards eliminating the negative emotions in his mind. And when he became fully enlightened, he kind of completely eliminated or eradicated the afflictive emotions that possess in his mind stream. And once you gain victory over the afflictive emotions, then you will be able to gain victory over anything. Once you gain victory from the influence of the negative emotions, then you are kind of you won't be able to defeat by anything. So the point is that the reason behind Buddha being able to kind of defeat the six heretic teachers in the competition of miracles, or the reason why he possessed such great qualities, is also a lot to do with him being his practice being directed towards eliminating the afflictive emotions.
Benang nganzu jula ya nyumu mewaina kangi ya nyo tuku marizda. Nyumu yotsa vijila benang nyumu dangzin ranchinzin la soba lodi yotsa vijila ani chik karu tukba ina ya chik soso la ya nyo dewa rochik. Mejiki kyaran la ya chik mintochi takba ina lamsang ani samla nyo dewa chik. sembo magiba yongde yungu yorasro tindigi nyumu de mewana kar mugu kar laba ya never kan yo mares lofom kan yungu mares dara semlo never kan yungu mares semlo never mar lula never mares terda kanji nganzola dunga yongde ya mundeba yongde ya yongsu zoba di rangi ju nyumu la ten yungu yo di ta sebu sejan res ro
For instance, if we completely eliminated all the afflictive emotions from our mind, and then we won't be able to kind of how to say we won't be able to triggered by any uh, um, kind of catalyst of negativity. For instance, if there is no afflictive emotion in your mind, even if somebody calls you by a nickname, you won't feel offended, you won't feel influenced, offended by words. Not only so the point is that once you gain victory over the afflictive emotions, others' actions, others' kind of abusive words, not only kind of been not only could hurt you physically, but also they won't have any influence over your mind as well. So the point is that all the problems that we face, all the kind of um, sufferings that we encounter are really caused by the afflictive emotions. And once we gain victory over the afflictive emotions, we won't be able to influenced or affected by such actions.
the di sanji bi chuga dan tumu mai bi kechu di nyumu paya dren dasra nyumu la ya nimbo ten di nyumu la ya nimbo nyumu ngun sini nyumu ngun zin chene ani tela ya nimbo ten ba di ani ta sanji gi chuga dan tumu mai bi kechu chago res 이마도 셴바 참고다 그나 지 아니 잠재 공고야라 소바 짐바탄야라 소바 지 수름 소야라 소바 다 용수 소바디 아니 줄루 만셔야 용구 열어서 이나야 아니 지금 안주 가서 왔다 지 로리투 치비다 지 심장 탐지 내사기 내려야 아니 감숨자 아니 감숨기 아니 땡징기 간사기 규기 아니 뉴무 참말로 아니 지 nimbo dame bi ani logom bi tobji ani pansu gramba sheba di ta sanji chu tomo mai bi kejures ro ta sanji bi chu ji chegi ba na ta dindri ji chego da zra dindri ji samlo dan rang ji nimu di ta dindri sam dan dan rogo go res ro
So the one of the unique feature of Buddha Dharma is that Buddha Dharma is a kind of attempt to identify the afflictive emotions and then apply antidote and remove or eliminate the afflictive emotions from our mind. So this is the unique kind of characteristic of Buddha Dharma. Otherwise, the certain the practices such as compassion, cultivation of compassion, practice of generosity, practice of certain practices of morality, they are kind of common to many other traditions, many other religions as well. So what quality makes the Buddha Dharma unique is really our attempt to identify the afflictive emotions and then try to apply antidotes to remove and eradicate the afflictive emotions. So this is the unique feature of Buddha Dharma. And not only that, when we talk about the afflictive emotions, we first categorize all sentient beings into 3 different realms. And then based on each realm, the different afflictive emotions are understood or categorized according to the different realm, and then the application of different antidotes to eradicate such eradicate corresponding afflictive emotions are also taught. So this is the unique feature of Buddha Dhamma.
디 뉴문비게 아니 껴데 통제 아니 디 빵비처도 아니 베나 차츠기 바이나 아니 넘버 산기비게 쳬르 드레지레다 디만도 지당이 차츠야잠 아니 쳬루 셴바솔이야 베여라스라 베나다 아니 같이 그 쳬로지나 같이도서 그 차다 안줄레 망세도 하더라 만치야 비기 아니 빼고 걸어 도도 차대도 아니 차츠엔으로 고살도는다 아니 베디 도도 차다 빼고 있는 저 고살 두두니 베 라고 소리 기에도라 딘디 제거라더라 이는 안저도 만다 가라서나 뉴문기 견드 때치네 뉴문발에 견드 때치네 디기 님부기 비처도 콜론 디케네다 차츠야디 베제 콘줄에 여사마레스라 대상기 위치였던 도모마이 계주지래 넣어서
So for instance, when we do certain practices of accumulating merit, for instance, practices such as making prostration and making offerings and so on and so forth. So as far as the prostration is concerned, the simply kind of, the act of prostrating is nothing kind of uniquely to Buddhist. But if your prostration is really meant to subdue your ego or subdue your afflictive emotions, then only this practice will become Buddhist. So therefore, there are many practices which are common, but what these practices become unique to Buddhism is the motivation of identifying the afflictive emotions and to make sure that your practices ultimately become a means to eliminate afflictive emotions. Otherwise, simply making prostration is not uniquely to Buddhist. For instance, even in Islam tradition, there is a practice of making prostrations, and some practitioners are really sincere in their prostrating, and even their kind of foreheads become somehow hard for repeatedly touching the ground and so on and so forth. So the point is that if your act of prostrating is conjoined with the motivation of eliminating afflictive emotions, then it will become a Buddhist practice.
먼저 달로카시지 나로라 가서 단데 아니 출루 리메이크 따지 드론이소라지 참잘 체기어라서라 콘스카시 갈 라그다 갈 모스 갈 랍송스라 안좀 대차 가지는 방고 그래스 방안즈 넘버 산지 위치 나로라다 대차 세단 디무숨 세디 베타 드라그 쪼로 아 아니 지 예바 탐지근 종공 쪼디 대난이다 지 대차다 독슈질 쓰고라더라 아니 대차다 이제 또 군주기 딴 대차 가진 방고 그랬어 등안주기 가서 왔다지 아니 랑종 감지로 왔어 랑종 디베 밀어야지 아니 공이징 소로지 등안주 가진 방고 그랬어 군주 딘디 성문날 딘디도 왔어 디 대차 디기 아니 공 가리임에다 아니 디기 첼리 가르치기 위험에다 디 육한다질 때는 총유명이 돌아야 상루지에 마땅바이나 아니 대샤디 아니 그 네가 그 비기 대화질라 상당바이나 직방 무고의 소리지 그 간좀밀에 공의 소리지 안 통식이라서라 이모에는 디 마힘바 대차 그고 첼리 육할 때는 총유명이 딘디기 직 14부근 대차가 돌아야 심주기 제도바나 대차도 네버도 빵고야지 통고라서라
So for the past few years, we been organizing an interfaith meeting, and during several such meetings, I was asked the question from according to Buddhism, why attachment is considered a negative trait and why we should try to kind of avoid this. And they somehow say that attachment is somehow a natural instinct, and we humans, it's a natural kind of part of our existence, and why we should even strive to eliminate attachment. So the point is that if you don't kind of reflect deep enough about the very nature or the very identity of attachment and the functions of attachment, we may seem that attachment is something that is kind of required for human existence, or that is a natural kind of human instinct. But the more we delve deeper into the nature and the function of attachment, then we will be able to recognize the destructive nature of afflictive emotions and why we should try to avoid and shun attachment.
The dindig bina dechagi the ngung teondi zindan karime decha singidi anji rata loi chashi chi yimba ani lo digi zindan karime ani lo digi ta an lateni ani chik chele tumde do de kari yungu yome 아니 로 딘디긴 잔탄쟁기 로디 아니 가서 다지 규yen 간다질 때 총에미 수 딘디 톨이야 십 차부기 심주 체제네 아니 로디 신주로 임바 문진 체제네 방야기 탑라야 아니 준진이 방비 님보다 때야디 산지기 치우던 도모마이 비케주레도 왔으라 됐다 디고거스더라면 저다 넘버 3기 최 징이지 받는다 심주 딘디지가 너 심주 로고 해서라
So here, as far as the attachment is concerned, we must try to kind of delve deeper into the nature of attachment. First, we must recognize that attachment is a state of mind, and then we must also realize the function of afflictive emotions. And then we must also try to understand the causes and conditions that give rise to attachment. And once we really kind of analyze, or once we delve deeper into these three steps, we will be able to recognize that attachment is a distorted mind. And with such distortion, with such distorted mind, it will only kind of produce suffering. So therefore, by recognizing the identity, the nature, and the functions and the result of attachment, we must try to kind of eliminate attachment from our mind. So this kind of mental attitude of kind of studying the nature of mind is unique to Buddhist, and we must have this kind of trait of analyzing the nature, the function of afflictive emotions.
디 딘디기 다 심주 체온디 아니 다 로릭 거디 다 하장기 개체 보지 자거라서 로릭 거디
Yes. So in this regard, the studies of mind and awareness become very crucial in understanding the nature and the functions of a mind in general and afflictive emotions in particular.
다 저땅기 짜비기 다 로릭 남자 라다 간주 소르드로시는 다 로릭 남자 마무슈저 다 디나니 아니 로이 나니 넘버 10세트 아니 넘버 10라야 원시 22치니 아니 원시 넘버 9 거레스 디 당한주 남주셔야 되다. 원시 넘버가 디 주 옹보라 땐데 받지. 옹보 숙진발이야. 하장 땐수 친구여 받지. 옹보라 땐 거서 옹보디 아니 룰라 땐 거라서. 그래서 원시 넘버가 디 주다 지 아니 룰라 땐데 받지. 신디기 룰라 땐데 받지. 디차가도 와서 디차가 와레스. 등한주 신고에 뺏기지 아니 다 개체슈디 대두 기된 조칭인기 로디 이로디 차고레스 이로 토니 가죽이 땡 사부직 삼당 토바나 드주기 아니 다 교당 토고레스로 아도 온식 베나 믹시로 토니 가죽 칼야 가죽 때데바이나야 아니 지 대두 교당야기 니버디 요마레스로 요마로스 tinanshengki amjolaya dra kazus nyen debayna diyo marat lushe tinanshiri ani Geshe tinanshiri the yilu toni samlo tawandi chi zo di ngubi nelulaya samlo tawandi yilu lamado onshila di nibo koramando asra yo mares dinza o dindri ki ani kenni namsha ro disos chetu yimbayna 아니 최디 띵사부 더 야부지 제도야 빼켜버 친구 로고레스로
So here, when we talk about the mind and awareness, there are many different ways of categorizing the mind or the consciousness, but one of the most prominent way of categorizing consciousness or mind is the categorizing mind into sensory sensory-based kind of consciousness and the mental consciousness. So there are five kind of sensory-based consciousnesses and one kind of mental consciousness, and the sensorial kind of based consciousness are kind of based on the sensory faculties, and their sensory faculties are yet in turn based on the gross physical body. So the five sensory faculties, five sensory consciousness are kind of, eye consciousness, ear consciousness, and so on and so forth. And the point is that by simply focusing on the sensory consciousness, we can't kind of achieve much, because even if we focus too much about eye consciousness or ear consciousness for that matter, we won't be able to achieve much, and it does not have much impact on our overall endeavor to achieve happiness. But once we go beyond the sensorial level consciousness and try to focus on the mental consciousness, then only we will be able to achieve greater kind of happiness and so on and so forth. So therefore, if we could kind of deepen our understanding about how the mind functions, how different mental, kind of different modalities of the mind functions and they arises, it will not only kind of deepen our understanding and knowledge, but also it will make us a good practitioner as well.
the yellow di karso da ji niba de demba da shuk chimbo chi yongya la ya zayu nganzo la ya ji namdo la soba digi di ra chagdo and then dansam la sobi lo ngemba di dang ngu pa ani computer gi nganzo la ya da shuk chimbo chi da yungu do asarwa ti ma do ji ngubi nelu la ya samlo tan to ya gi yellow ji ora de ti nganzo pe shuk chunjo ra asarwa da di shuk chimbo yongya gi chedo the gom gyaya de tere dasra gom gyaya ge goba yena mena di yilo di ngubi nelula ya tebi yilo di shuk chenbu yongya ge chedo da gom gyaya ga res gom gyaya goba zo de tere sra
So here, when we talk about the mental consciousness, so although there are kind of subtle kind of afflictive emotions that also arises as part of the mental consciousness, they somehow seem very evident due to our habituation in the past. However, the whole purpose of meditation is really to um, uh, to 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 um, to bring about the full potential of the mental consciousness, and to activate the full potential of mental consciousness, we really we kind of meditate. So therefore, the whole point of a meditation is not only to sit, only simply to sit, but rather to bring about the full potential of the mental consciousness.
The yellow di shukchambo yonji gom gyawon di teni wanshe nga di karso daji ngon jinda da yul ya ani manju ni ta de goya sorachi tabshi di tengo da tabshi di chego da sora an thongma de la ya chi wanshe di ranso ro sha chi ni ani yellow tone ka zu tudu sangmo tayati 디 네급스 직 아니 암주 까데야 소바다 믹좀 데라 마힘바 코란스 샤치니 아니 일루토닉 아니 삼로타이 종더 치고 거레스 다데 토마 종더 치베 카둘라 다지 아니 지 죽다만던 톤데사단 다지 다만더 코데사게 아니 지 딘딜레야 데바이나 레탕보 원래 깔레카보 차관자 네 엠바 딘딜레야 데치 아니 종더 치고 거레스 tene kanla kanzo jong tu di tene chi ani da ta de sa ta chi dramandan thoya yo sa tindila de che ani yang rang so sha chin yelo ton tu sin komba chin kansam jela ya kawan ro kawa de na ya lamga gi shindu tindi jela den chin ani kom gya wa ya su su sem di pe tembu chin ani ne tu ya tindi pe ani kom di the yung yo res.
So therefore, the whole purpose of meditation is really to bring about the full potential of mental consciousness. And when we try to bring about, when we try to focus on the potential of mental consciousness, we must try to kind of the sense consciousness, the activity of the sense consciousness should lay kind of dormant, but instead of suppressing the engagement of sense consciousness with its mind, we must try to leave as it is. And if you are a beginner in meditation, then it is recommended to seek solitude and find a quiet place so that there is less distraction, less engagement with less engagements of the sensorial consciousness with its respective objects. But once you advances in your practice, then you can also meditate in kind of places that are noisy or that are not very conducive for beginners. Once you advances your practice, you can also meditate in this, because you will be able to control the engagement of the sensory consciousness with its object. So the point is that the whole purpose of meditation is really to focus and try to bring about the full potential of mental consciousness.
Terda lagdon da nganzu pen da nganzu da gyundeng gi she da lamram she go rasra lamram gom go da lamram go gasa
Otelier.
ya da lamram gom go da lamram gom di da lamram go tokba de da nganzu jule ke go da da nga khadine di soro di yesra nganzu jule lamram go tokba ke bala ya lamram ne ma she bi ge tokba ki su go ramba jora da 티로 티침마 진진지 아니 제마투나 아니 람람니 시비 또바디 란줄에 기야디 니 삼나 미식 버레샤스 로 람람니 시비 또바디 줄에 기야디 냠뇽 징기 라마디 냠뇽 토니 마 땡라 파비샤와 차고라스라 딘디 람가 디신지 말로버 때 여반자 람가 디신지 말로버 송체네 아니 드로마도 바이나 아니 람람 니셰비 또버디 만주길 키에다 시그마레스 딘즈 람람 니마 곰 갸단 그름바시 온디 케체슈 질야 아니 지 류 대단 디페 케쳔부 쇼진 디펜 도당 티니 야가르 키비 송 도솔야 콩 뚝시네 케쳔부 쇼진 송 요레스라 당한 델레는 당이 로추 사지기린라야 다 람람 시에라 곰 갸단데 케쳔부레 산지 좀 된디 비게딘디 지고 가주스 케쳔부레스 라비샤와이나야 만주 냠드 곰두스 갸원디 아니 알담부 미코란 좀 기어 말세 딱 가주 라사디네야 람사 믹좀 대샤가 다서라 디소르 딘디 시바이나 연구여서 말했다 딱 람람나 가리시면 아주 람람 자인들 람람나 가리시여 다가라 제도에기다 배준 두리 난고에다 신는 계신 버려샤스
So here, usually when we study the lamrim and try to cultivate the realization of lamrim, it is really crucial to kind of meditate in accordance with the instructions given in the lamrim text. And the instruction given in the lamrim text are really based on the experiences of those highly realized masters. And therefore, if as individual practitioner wishes to attain same levels of realization, it is really crucial to follow the same instructions, same steps that were taught in the lamrim. And and even the physical postures are really considered a very important element in one's meditation. And for the past 10 years since I came here, I often tell that the physical posture is important. And then when you do the meditation, we should not kind of completely close our mind, but rather keep our mind, keep our eye kind of semi-close, or half close or something like that. But when we do a group meditation, people immediately tend to close their mind and then start doing meditation, which is kind of wrong according to the lamrim instruction. So if you're not able to follow the accurate instruction, then it's difficult for us to cultivate generate realization.
람람 비기다 베는 장고라면 좀가 버치 베다 람람 친리 총숨 제요라스라 다디 딩안줄라 람딩 쳇다 이토라마 빠바라다라 다디 안줄고 디딜록라 아 차치로 니로 숨로 만탈야 메세디 나몰야 만탈야 다 직차갸스타 로고도 아스라 딜로바이나다 간sam질야 지 베자도 mambulo dedi tanganzu pecha tanyu yore pecha mambulo dedi kansamjila shoglo tambugun dunsho nala kariyome gyabsho gibi yinchan tambula kariyome lolo chayaji yores teni pesi ucha ta gomgya gona pesi ucha resro
So Lama Tsongkhapa has written great stages of the path to enlightenment. Then there is the middling stage, and then there is the consent stages of the path to enlightenment. And all this text, all these works really should be seen as a manual for individual practitioner to engage in the practice. And we must try to read as much as possible, and the more you read, the more clarity you'll gain. And then once you read multiple times, then you will reach a point where you could recall the details of the content of the text, what is written there in the first page, what is written there on the second page, so on and so forth. So the content of the text become very clear to you. And when the instructions are very clear, then it will also improve and enhance your practice as well. So therefore, it's really crucial to try to read again and again.
당한주 다슬 베제 땡한주 갱 캔서로 붙여라. 길로선라. 갱기 gombarabsada tatuzul shungi uyarada gombarabsagi shodan digi dipendunzigi yingchan tambu nala yarda soyungre nganzi tidi tambu yishere chebada ngone be and sebu shoch ta gen gonglu dunjutende jachul songordi ya but sebu shoch tatuzu samalo and shok kachi yomari tevlimi tago mardi one she marata yilu la ya semla ya sebu shoch chargorada tindig and yellow the shuk chambu yongya chambu tembu yongya dirwa samudaya tindi yungu dasra
Yes. Um, so, for instance, when we go to receive teaching from our teacher, Kensuru Michelo Sering, and usually he would teach from his own memory, and sometimes he would say that he would quote a particular citation, and he would say that this is from this particular text, page number you so and so forth, line number so and so forth. So initially we were like, maybe, but later, it was absolutely true that his memory was very sharp. Even at the age of 70, when he was nearing to 70s and 80s, his memory was still very sharp. And the reason why they have very sharp memory is that they really try to focus more on the mental consciousness, the potential of the mental consciousness.
ko shong chemu duzo nganzu teb shemba da dragyo mares ra chidang gipena lorgyu do jida an lagdan de chik ani saksho so de jimba na ko tsar chik lodi kan koya de mada tsar niba lodi ta diliji ani ko mandra ji ta shushu yo marwasra 나 shongchemo도서 가주 로바이나 아니 고팅 sabdra야지 고 사바라야지 디 용구요레스 디 야차야다마 용구요레스로
Yes. And then, moreover, reading a philosophical text, philosophical treatise is different from reading a history book, or rather, and reading a newspaper. Because if you read a newspaper or a historical book, history book, and whatever you understand for the first time, that's it. You won't be able to get anything much when you read again. However, as far as the philosophical texts are concerned, when you read a second time and third time and again, it will definitely help you to deepen your understanding. Each time you'll get a new realization and understanding.
저거되나 저거다니 나 계시에 도스노스
Yes. So that's all I wanted to share today. And if you have any questions, we can deal with that.
Thank you, Geshe-la. Actually, I'm going to repeat a request I did last year.
yeah I remember
Yeah.
next week
Next week, okay.
yeah
So I'll wait. Thank you.
뭐 가진이 마드니 엔 따님 숨 꼴지 싫어실라서
Listen.
드링 아주 죄송합니다 인 지메기 사파산틀 시초스
Yes. So today we don't have enough time to talk about the three equanimities. We'll discuss about this in the next session.
Hello, Geshe-la. Thank you
Hello,
for your
Geshe-la.
teachings. Would you kindly elaborate a little on the antidotes for the negative afflictive emotions? Can you give some examples of how to eradicate them with the antidotes?
Yes. And nantsukila döchala nyembu tene döchasna mi tatso nyomongla nyembu tene pangtsukoli chiksungro tadi pegi toni nyembu ten tangji sungro chi sigdo. Nyembole tsikdi nganzu inji tsikdi chikchin tes konyo poyosargala tanda nganzu nyembo sedi inji ki tsiki antidote le de pichu chikidwa
Are.
ane namgyu ta antidote tanda nganzu nasadaw nawa ina di ngongo mara diwa kapti chaya ki men kapchi yora dela antidote la de wara pena tukdaw shu na di njomaya ki men dela antidote la de wara ta inji tsikla nyembo ki tsikdi misa di pichu tang de wara antidote.
Yes.
Yes.
Mongi inji gegiro.
Yes.
My English teacher. She's a very good teacher, very kind, but I'm not good, no good student. I'm very lazy. I'm sorry. 가서 다직 배는 아주 첫 사오지어봐는 디 장모 가르치 소가서나 디 장모 소야디 아니 장모질 때니 장모지기 첫 사오디 장모 소고라서 안 차고 여봐는 차와자야디 디 간다 아니 장모질 때니 아니 차오디 짜고 그러서 딘자 다 뉴무 방야디 뉴무 비긴 간다기 로직기니 뉴무도 좀 고거레스 딘자 딘지 용해라 뉴무긴 간다디 디 베나 차랑라오나 고 나전느시 임바나지 뉴무긴 간다디 전담 문팀비 로직 토는 조거레스 아니 뉴무긴 전담 가비 로직기 발야 뉴무긴 전담 가임바디 문진 치야디 더 신도니 개체 무차고 그랬어. 딘디지가 트고는 믿는 싫어.
So when we talk about applying antidote to afflictive emotions, we must kind of understand this from a kind of analogy of, let's say, a hot water and a cold water. And if you want to kind of decrease the hotness of the water, then the only thing we could do this is by increasing the coldness, mixing it with cold water or something. So an opposing force will somehow reduce its strength. So similarly, if we want to increase the heat of water, we will kind of boil it and so on and so forth. So similarly, when we talk about applying an antidote, in order to eradicate afflictive emotions, first we must cultivate a mind that has directly, opposing mode of apprehension to the afflictive emotions. And in order to do that, first we must recognize the mode of apprehension of afflictive emotions. And once we recognize that, and then we will know the mode of apprehension of a particular afflictive emotions. And then by cultivating another mind, which is a directly opposing mode of apprehension than the afflictive emotions, and that mind will serve as an antidote or serve as a kind of agent to eradicate the afflictive emotions.
Emotions na kare sorwa sorji lagore.
Regular nyongtsor sorojire.
용설.
Laso.
the zindangi jingi loti. Sorwa zamaimba sorwa zamaimba ani zindang jingi lochi. Zo shukcheshu de dichagdo asra. Bena danzin said da ani döcha shedan tamje ani danzin la deni gigores. Danzin silawandi ani da rani pe ani rawan du chubatabi charbi loji warata telagores. Tindiki lodigin zantang di ani kang mixage da rani pe rawan du kang la ya mademba madeba rawan du yobati ani danzin digin zantang chagores. Tinza da dindichi du da mundu ticheba chichogores da pe Kansa Rani, Rawan to true the Messadi, moving the Luigi work, the Cheva Cheni, Rawan to trip Mevaina, trip the Rawan to Matrupadi, Zimbilodi, Rawan to trip and Zimbilodi, Zandangos and Gawachas was the chick shook chena ching yam royachi, go to Chuni Chagwares, Taranta Wars. The Dindig sometime did the Nimbuten Kichesu did the Dindig sometime did Sungudosra.
For instance, when we talk about the self-grasping mind and the antidotal mind of the self-grasping mind, the difference between these two minds is that one has the mode of apprehension of one mind apprehends self having some intrinsic objective existence. However, the selflessness, the mind realizing selflessness has a kind of opposite mode of apprehension that sees self as being devoid of inherent and objective existence. So the main distinction between the mind grasping selfhood and mind grasping selflessness is the mode of apprehension of these two minds. And these two minds are directly opposing to each other. So therefore, from Buddhist point of view, the nyomon is just more than an emotion. It's more than a kind of a distorted realization or understanding, because when we talk about self-grasping, it is just not just an emotion, but a distorted notion of about what self is, distorted notion of what self is. And once we cultivate the mind realizing selflessness, and then that mind will realize that self does not have any intrinsic existence. And the more we cultivate that mind, the self-grasping mind, the effect of the self-grasping mind will gradually diminish.
Thank you so much. Vajana.
Final Lamrim prayer, page 12 in a small booklet. From my two types of merits vast space that I have amassed from working with effort at this practice for a grand length of time, may I become the chief leading Buddha for all those whose minds' wisdom eye is blinded by ignorance. Even if I do not reach this state, may I be held in your loving compassion for all life's Manjushri. May I find the best of complete graded paths of the teachings, and may I please all the Buddhas by my practice. Using skillful means drawn by the strong force of compassion, may I clear the darkness from the minds of all beings, with the points of the path as I have discerned them. May I uphold the Buddha's teachings for a very long time. With my heart going out with great compassion, in whatever direction the most precious teachings have not yet spread, or once spread have declined, may I reveal this treasure of happiness and aid. May the minds of those who wish for liberation be granted boundless peace, and the Buddha's deeds be nourished for a long time, by even this graded path to enlightenment completed, due to the wondrous virtuous conduct of the Buddhas and their sons. May all human and non-human beings who eliminate adversity and create conducive conditions for practicing the excellent paths never be parted in any of their lives from the purest path praised by the Buddhas. Whenever someone makes effort to act in accordance with the tenfold Mahayana virtues practices, may he always be assisted by the mighty ones, and may oceans of prosperity spread everywhere. Thank you very much. And just a small announcement, we have a guided meditation at 1:15 with Venerable Tony in the Gompa. And tonight is medicine Buddha Puja at 6:30 in the Gompa, also online. And this weekend, Geshe Tsultrim is teaching weekend course, entering the Tantric path for those who would like to join. Thank you.